Hey guys, Stucky here. You ever wanted to try the best version of the Action Network app? Well, now is the perfect opportunity to do so because we have a special offer to celebrate the month of March and the NCAA tournament. You can get pro access for just $9.99 for the first month. That will give you access to things like Sean Kerner's player prop projections, which are invaluable, real-time money percentages, and our model's biggest edges, and much more. All you have to do is head over to actionnetwork.com/madness. That's actionnetwork.com/madness and get there before the deal expires. Cheers. Let's head down south and move on to the SEC, which will take place in Nashville. All 14 teams make it. Top 4 double buys, 5 through 10 single buys. This is an exact replica format as the Big Ten, but instead of Minneapolis, they'll play in Nashville. Tennessee is the top seed. They are the favorite at +160. Auburn, the second favorite. Interestingly enough, and they're around 2-1. They're the two top seeds in the top half of the bracket. So if the chalk holds, they would face each other in the semifinals. I see zero value in either of those numbers. Tennessee Auburn would be an awesome semifinal matchup, though. And if the chalk holds in the bottom, it would be Kentucky, Alabama in meeting in the semifinals, both around 5-1. When I look at this, and then your 5 through 10 seeds have a single bye. That's LSU, Mississippi State, which will play each other in the 8-9 game. South Carolina, the 5 seed. Texas A&M, Ole Miss, rematch from the finale. The Texas A&M dominated in the 7-10 matchup, and then Florida as the 6 seed. First round games: Arkansas versus Vanderbilt, Georgia versus Missouri. So when I look at this, I see no value in Tennessee, just from a numbers perspective, no value in Auburn. And then I look at Kentucky at 5-1. No thanks. I mean, they can beat anybody. They could lose to anybody. If their offense is so good, their defense still has issues. It's been better in some facets, but I mean, they were just at home the game before they won at Tennessee with, Arkansas, and it was like 90-88 with 3 minutes to go. So no thank you on Florida. Excuse me, no thank you on Kentucky, and no thank you on Alabama. It's worth noting that Rylan Griffin, I think he has a calf injury he's dealing with. I think he should be available, but worth monitoring there. Alabama's defense seems to be getting worse. Does anyone on that team want to defend? It's bad. They can't get stops. So no thank you on them 5-1. But I think because of their, Alabama can't get stops. They're also a super high variance team. They shoot a ton of threes. And Kentucky with their offense and defense, their defensive liabilities, those are vulnerable 2-3 seed high variance teams, which I think, Tennessee's more of a consistent commodity. I think they'll probably come out of the top half, but I just don't see any value in that number. But I don't want to attack any long shots in the top half. If I was to throw a power ball, it would be Arkansas, just for couch change, just because of, it's a team that was ranked coming into the season, had a ton of potential, flopped. Now they'd have to win 5 games in 5 days, but their offense is playing extremely well right now. Battle's averaging I think 33 points per game over the last 5. That would be a Powerball ticket. But I would rather target teams in the bottom half. And those two would be Florida at 14-1. They should beat Georgia or Missouri in the second round and get to Alabama, who they already beat. They already beat Kentucky, the 2 seed, in Rupp. And they've been a top 20 team since January 1st, had injuries early in the season. You have a great coach in Todd Golden. So Florida being 14-1 compared to Alabama and Kentucky at 5-1. I think that there's some value there. And Texas A&M, I can't get away from A&M. They do have a decent bench. They play slow. They give up a ton of threes. So 50-1. They're a good candidate as a long shot. They already beat Kentucky. They already beat Florida. And there's a good chance Florida takes that Alabama. I would hate them to face Alabama just because. Now the good thing is Alabama could just be off from 3, which is what you want with a 50-1 shot. It's just when Texas A&M plays Alabama, you always feel like you're trying to combat 3s with 2s, it's just an uphill climb. But those are the 2 teams I'm targeting in the bottom half, which I think could be pretty chaotic, with Alabama and Kentucky as the 2 and 3 seeds. So yeah, Texas A&M and Florida, the two teams that jumped out to me. Greg, let me go to you first. What are you seeing in the SEC?
I think you hit on a lot of the key points. I'm just going to say at the top, my pick to win this tournament is Kentucky. At 5-1, I don't hate that price. I agree. I wish it was a little juicier than that, but I think the draw here favors the bottom half significantly, which is Kentucky, Alabama, Texas A&M, Florida. Take your pick who you like there. Look, there's two elite teams in this league. If you believe the metrics, it's Tennessee and it's Auburn. People have finally understood that Alabama hasn't beaten anyone with a pulse all season long. Kentucky can play like an elite team any given game, but their floor is also just significantly lower than Tennessee and Auburn are to me. And the fact that Tennessee and Auburn have to go through each other in the semi is a huge obstacle here. It truly is. There's no value on Tennessee. You nailed it. I feel the same about Auburn. So you have to take a flyer on somebody from the bottom. I believe Kentucky has been significantly better than everybody else on that side of the draw. They've been 12th per Torvik in the last month. Nobody else in the SEC is even top 35 in the country in the last month. That's notable to me. Obviously, they've won 5 straight games, but I think there's something to this team being a big game team, Stuck. They're 4-0 on the road this year against KenPom top 40 opponents. It seems like their best performances have all been the bright lights performances, especially down the stretch of this season. And I think that matters. Like, I just do. I think there's certain teams that thrive in a single game elimination style setting. I'm excited to see what these young cardiac cats can do, but I believe that they can do it. Like, I think Rob Dillingham and Reed Shepherd are psychopaths who are going to be ready for this moment. The flyer I like, you mentioned, is the Aggies. Fifth best team in the country over the last 3 games. Now, that's a small sample size, but calendar turns to March 1st. This team has been on the outside looking in, according to Bracket Matrix. They're still on the outside looking in. They're the 5th team off the cut line. They need to win multiple games, plural, in this tournament to qualify for the NCAA tournament. Now, I think if they were to beat Ole Miss and then beat Kentucky, maybe they punched their ticket at that point. But their last 3 have been convincing. I mean, blowout Ole Miss at Ole Miss by 26 points, final game of the regular season. Feels good. We all know what Wade Taylor can do. We know they're not going to get out hustled. The rebounding numbers are stupid. This is the best offensive rebounding team in the country. That is an area to me.
Where you can live against Kentucky.
Right. Kentucky's very vulnerable to that specific weakness. So look, I think Kentucky will win that game. But I think whoever wins that game is my pick to win this tournament. And before I cede my time here, gentlemen, just want to throw this out. I would like to slander Alabama and Auburn collectively before I'm done with my time here. These two teams on the season, guys, 0-10 against KenPom top 25 opponents combined that aren't each other. They haven't beaten anyone except for each other. And we're supposed to buy that both of these teams are serious threats to make deep runs in March. I don't see it at all. I still believe Tennessee's great, but to me, the bottom half of the bracket's where to target for value.
Well, let me, along those lines, because this is what I was going to bring up next. Name Auburn's best win away from home.
I'm trying to think who they got in SEC play. It was nobody in the non-con.
Here's Auburn's wins away from home this year. Notre Dame, Bonnie's on neutral courts, Indiana on a neutral court, UNC Asheville on a neutral court, at Arkansas, at Vanderbilt, at Ole Miss, at Georgia, at Missouri. That's it. They have not beat a tournament team on the road all year.
Yeah, I think it's Drew Pember. Drew Pember and UNC Asheville. I think that's the best one.
Yeah. They have not beat anybody away from home. But good stuff there. Calabrese, what are your thoughts here in the SEC?
This is my top play in terms of a team, double-digit odds to win for all the power conference tournaments. They just dropped 105 on Bama in an 18-point win. Then probably Kentucky. They lost by 2 at home to Kentucky and upset them in overtime at Rupp. They play fast. They gobble up a ton of rebounds. They get to the line a ton. I think this team is surging. You talked about it since January 1. We'll go February 1. 21st nationally in Torvik. I just view them as a team that always plays up. That was my thought. And then I go in and look at the Evan Maya metric when it comes to playing against better quality opponents. No power conference team in America is anywhere close to Florida. They're like, in terms of the color, it's like the darkest red it can go in terms of them playing up to their opponents. So it's like that basically confirmed for me what I was already feeling. I love their backcourt. I love what they did in the transfer portal. Clayton Jr. is a guy I'm happy to hang my hat on. They are going to make a deep run in this tournament. And the number that I had just to play it was 10-1. The fact that I get it 20-1 makes it my number one play. So it's great to be a Florida Gator. Let's do it.
It's finally March, so you know what that means. It's time to say top of the morning to the most famous St. Patrick's Day Shamrock Shavers, our new sponsor, Manscaped. Don't just chase rainbows this March. Make your own pot of gold and groom your little leprechaun with the leaders in below-the-kilt care. Clear your clover forest with Manscaped's Lawnmower 5.0 and join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. Head over to manscaped.com and use code BBOC for 20% off plus free shipping. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is your new lucky charm, and it's fully waterproof. So go ahead, shave by the misty moors, shave under a waterfall, shave while betting a second half total. The world is yours. Get 20% off and free shipping with code BBOC at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with code BBOC at manscaped.com. This St. Patrick's Day, make sure your hairy little leprechaun is luckier than ever with Manscaped.